My hand hovers over the brass doorknob. Cold metal, smooth from decades of palms pushing through. I should knock. I should announce myself like a proper daughter returning home at 9:47 on a Tuesday night. But I hear laughter inside the drawing room. The expensive kind. The kind that comes after the third pour of scotch that costs more per bottle than most people's mortgage payments. My father's voice cuts through first. Rich, confident. The voice he uses when he's about to close a deal or ruin someone's life. Sometimes both at once. Another round, gentlemen? Glass clinks. Ice rattles. Sloane's laugh follows, sharp and bright. I know that laugh. She saves it for moments when someone's about to get destroyed and doesn't know it yet. I've heard it directed at opposing counsel, at nurses who displease her, at me when I was 19 and stupid enough to think my computer science degree impressed anyone in this family. I should walk away. Drive back to my anonymous apartment with its second-hand furniture and working locks that keep out everyone, including the people who share my last name. But then I hear it. 3 words that root my feet to the Persian runner beneath them. Rosewood Cottage sale. My grandmother's house. The only place in my entire childhood where someone looked at me and saw something other than a disappointment in a cardigan. I lean closer. The door is old. The seal imperfect. Sound travels. 20 million. My father's voice carries the weight of confession. Bad cases. Thought I could win them. Gambled wrong. Bryce Sterling speaks next. My ex-boyfriend. The one who told me I was brilliant right before he told me I wasn't wife material. His voice has that oily quality investment bankers cultivate. Smooth and slick and utterly without friction. The cottage appraises at $850,000. Quick sale, clean paperwork. My commission is 8%. $160,000 for me. Enough to cover your immediate obligations. And Meredith never has to know the extent of the problem. Sloane laughs again. She won't ask questions. She never does. Just signs whatever you put in front of her and smiles like a grateful puppy. My chest tightens, not with surprise, with recognition. I could fix this. Right now. I could open this door, walk in, and offer to write a check. $20 million is nothing. Less than nothing. Aether Systems cleared $40 million in revenue last quarter alone, and the IPO opens tomorrow morning at a projected $84 per share. But I don't move. Because my father is still talking. Don't worry about her. She's too stupid to read the fine print. She'll sign whatever we put in front of her just to get a pat on the head. The words land like a fist to the sternum. Not a slap. A punch. The kind that knocks the air from your lungs and leaves you gasping. Stupid. She's been playing with computers for years. Sloane's voice drips with contempt. Still no real job. Still living in that sad little apartment. I posted a throwback photo of her last week, remember? From when she was 19? The comments were brutal. Everyone asking when she'll grow up and get a real career. At least the cottage sale is clean. Bryce again. Always Bryce, calculating his angle. She won't even understand what she's signing. Just tell her it's trust fund paperwork. She'll believe anything. My hand drops from the doorknob. 3 years ago, I paid off Sloane's credit card debt. $50,000 in charges for handbags and spa, weekends and bottles of wine that cost more than some people's cars. I did it anonymously through a shell company, because I knew if she discovered I had money, she'd never stop asking for more. I thought I was protecting her. Protecting all of them. Silent protector. That's what my therapist called it before I stopped going to therapy because sitting in an office talking about my feelings felt like admitting defeat. I protect people who don't protect me back. I sacrifice for people who see sacrifice as weakness. My grandmother knew. She tried to tell me, sitting in the kitchen at Rosewood Cottage when I was 16, teaching me to code on her ancient desktop computer that took 5 minutes to boot up. You're worth more than their approval, Mary. I didn't believe her then. I wanted to, but I didn't. Now, standing in this hallway, with my family's laughter echoing through the door, I feel something shift. Something cold and clean and sharp. They don't misunderstand me. They despise my intelligence because it threatens their control. I turn. My footsteps make no sound on the runner as I walk back down the hallway, through the foyer, out the front door. Kalen stands beside my car, his posture military straight despite the late hour. He's been my head of security for 3 years, knows exactly who I am and what I'm worth, never told a soul. He opens the back door without a word. I slide into the leather seat. The door closes with a solid thunk that sounds like a vault ceiling. Get me the audit logs for Scott and Partners, I say. My voice sounds different. Lower. Colder. Tonight. Kaylin's eyes meet mine in the rearview mirror. For 3 years, I've been the polite boss who says please and thank you, and apologizes when I ask him to work late. He sees something different now. Yes, boss. The engine starts. We pull away from the estate, from the people inside who think I'm too stupid to read fine print, too weak to understand what they're doing to me. They're wrong. And in 24 hours, they're going to realize exactly how wrong they've been. The Four Seasons suite costs $8,000 a night. I'm not staying here for the thread count. I'm here because the walls are soundproof, the internet connection runs on dedicated fiber, and nobody from my family would ever think to look for me in a hotel that requires a black card just to book a room. It's 2:30 inches the morning. 3 monitors glow blue across the mahogany desk, each one displaying a different layer of Scott and Partners' financial infrastructure. My fingers move across the keyboard without conscious thought, muscle memory, from 10,000 hours of coding, translating into commands that peel back every transaction, every wire transfer, every desperate attempt my father made to cover his losses. Aether Systems provides cybersecurity to his firm, has for 2 years. He doesn't know that. Doesn't know that every email, every financial record, every panicked message to his accountant flows through servers I control. He called me stupid. I pull up the first document. A case file from 18 months ago. Richard Scott, representing a pharmaceutical company against a class action lawsuit. The opposing counsel had documentation, witnesses, momentum. My father bet $6 million on a settlement that never came. Lost everything. Next file. Another gamble. Another loss. The pattern emerges like a fracture spreading across glass. $20 million. Gone. Not stolen. Not embezzled. Just arrogant, reckless decisions, made by a man who believed his charm could override facts. I open Sloane's financial records next. Her surgeon salary is substantial. $280,000 a year. Should be enough for anyone. Except she spends $580,000 annually. Designer clothes. Luxury vacations. A wine collection that costs more per bottle than I paid for my first car. She's been bleeding money for years, using credit cards like they're somehow disconnected from reality, from consequence. I find the email thread buried in her personal account. Subject line, the Mary problem. My stomach clenches, but I open it anyway. Sloane to Richard, 3 months ago. We need to activate the family ATM before she figures out she has options. Richard's response, she won't figure it out. She's too busy playing with computers. Sloane again. The cottage is the play. Sentimental value. She'll do anything to keep it. We frame it as helping her. Take what we need. Move on. 3 months. They've been planning this for 3 months. I screenshot everything. Every email. Every transaction. Every lie they told themselves about who I am and what I'm worth. My phone buzzes at 3:15. Preston Vance. The only person outside my security team who knows the truth. You should be sleeping, I say. So should you. His voice carries that particular strain of someone who's spent the last 48 hours preparing for the biggest financial event of his career. The Ether IPO is tracking to break records. Less than 24 hours until bell. I know. Do you? He pauses. I hear him moving, probably pacing his office. Preston doesn't sit still when money is on the line. Because if you don't legally sever your finances before market open, their debt becomes your liability. California family law is not your friend here. The words hit like cold water. I knew this. Somewhere in my brain, I knew this. But hearing it stated plainly, hearing the timeline compressed into hours instead of abstract future consequences, makes it real. How bad? I ask. $20 million in debt against $2.8 billion in assets? The creditors will come for you the second your net worth goes public. They'll argue familial responsibility, shared household history. You'll spend years in litigation, even if you win. I close my eyes. The monitors paint blue shadows across my eyelids. Save them or save your empire, Preston says. You don't get both. I've been saving them my whole life. Anonymous payments, quiet fixes, problems that disappeared before they knew problems existed. and they still see me as stupid. I need a quitclaim deed, I say, for Rosewood Cottage. That's not enough. You need a full financial separation waiver. Every future claim, every potential liability. Can you bury it in the language? Page 7, paragraph 3. Make it look like standard charity paperwork. Preston goes quiet. When he speaks again, his voice has changed. That's scorched earth. That's survival. They'll sign it without reading. You know they will. I'm counting on it. Another pause. Longer this time. I can almost hear him weighing the ethics against the necessity, the familial obligation against the cold mathematics of wealth preservation, the friends and family IPO allocations. He says finally, if you include the waiver, they forfeit everything. How much? 1.5 million shares at projected opening. If we hit $84 per share, that's $126 million. If the stock performs the way I think it will. He trails off. I do the math instantly. If the stock quadruples like similar IPOs have, if Ether Systems proves what I know it can prove, the forfeiture becomes $500 million. They wanted to steal my grandmother's house for $850,000. I'm about to let them sign away $500 million. Draft it, I say. Have it ready by noon. Meredith. Preston's voice softens. He almost never uses my full name. Are you sure? I look at the monitors. At the evidence of their contempt displayed in financial transactions and casual cruelty. At the email where Sloan called me an ATM they haven't activated yet. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. We end the call. The suite falls silent except for the quiet hum of electronics and my own breathing. Kalen knocks once, enters without waiting for permission. He's carrying a black folder, the kind lawyers use for documents that matter. The deed? I ask. Drafted, reviewed, notarized, and ready for signature. He sets it on the desk. They don't deserve you, boss. But I look up at him. Kalen never editorializes, never offers opinions. He provides security, maintains silence, executes orders without question. No, I say. They don't. He nods once, turns to leave. Kalen? He stops. Thank you. Just doing my job, boss. But we both know that's not true. His job is protecting my body. What he's actually protecting is something else entirely. After he leaves, I open the black folder. The quitclaim deed sits on top, official and innocuous. Underneath, buried in dense legal language exactly where I specified, the waiver clause waits like a landmine. They think I'm too stupid to read fine print. They're about to learn exactly how wrong they are. The Instagram notification hits my phone at 8:04 a.m. I'm sitting in my car outside a coffee shop 3 blocks from my apartment, engine idling, watching steam rise from a paper cup I haven't touched. The screen lights up with Sloan's post. It's a photo of me at 19. Unwashed hair pulled into a messy ponytail, oversized hoodie swallowing my frame, hunched over a laptop in the corner of the campus library. Dark circles under my eyes like bruises. I remember that night. 72 hours into a coding marathon, living on vending machine coffee and the kind of obsessive focus that makes you forget meals exist. The caption reads, TBT, to little sis's lost years tinkering with code. Some of us grew up, family love, priorities. 847 likes already. I scroll through the comments, each one a small knife sliding between ribs. When will she get a real job? Such a disappointment to the family. Richard and Sloan turned out so successful. What happened to this one? My Aunt Margaret, always quick to perform concern, praying for her to find her path. Cousin David, who borrowed $5,000 from me 2 years ago and never paid it back. Maybe it's time for an intervention? 200 comments, all of them seeing exactly what Sloan wanted them to see. The failure, the embarrassment, the family burden who never grew up. I set the phone face down on the passenger seat. My coffee has gone cold. They're softening me up, making sure I'm wounded and desperate when I walk into that library at 3 o'clock. Making sure I'm grateful for whatever scraps they offer. Even if those scraps are my own grandmother's house, the cruelty is precise. Surgical. Sloan learned it in medical school, probably. How to cut exactly deep enough to cause maximum pain without quite killing the patient. I drive to Rosewood Cottage alone. The gate is unlocked. It always is. My grandmother never believed in keeping people out, which is probably why she left the house to me instead of to my father, who would have installed security systems and cameras and motion sensors that would make Fort Knox jealous. The gravel driveway crunches under my tires. I park in the same spot I always do, beneath the oak tree my grandmother planted when she was 23 and newly married, back when the world was smaller and promises still meant something. The house looks tired. White paint peeling near the roofline. Shutters that need replacing. The front steps sag slightly in the middle from decades of footsteps. But the bones are good. Solid. The kind of construction they don't do anymore, when people built things to last instead of building them to sell. I let myself in with the key I've carried for 8 years. The one my grandmother pressed into my palm the summer before she died, closing my fingers around the brass teeth like she was passing on something more valuable than metal. This is yours, Mary. Not your father's. Not Sloane's. Yours. Don't forget that. I didn't understand then. I thought she meant the key. Now I know she meant the belonging. Inside, the air smells like dust and old wood and the ghost of her lavender perfume. I run my hand along the banister, feeling the grain beneath my palm. Smooth in some places, rough in others. Honest wear from honest use. Her needlepoint still hangs in the hallway. A quote from Virginia Woolf. A woman must have money and a room of her own. She stitched that when she was 67. After my grandfather died and left her financially independent for the first time in her life, she hung it in the entryway like a declaration of war against anyone who thought widows should be grateful and quiet. I walk through the room slowly. Kitchen with its yellow tiles and the chip in the counter where I dropped a cast iron skillet when I was 12. Living room with the fireplace that actually works, unlike the decorative gas logs at my father's estate. The reading chair by the window, cracked leather that molded to her body over 40 years of books and afternoon light. I sit in that chair now. The photo albums are still on the side table. I don't open them. I know what's inside. My grandmother and me, hundreds of pictures spanning 18 years. Her teaching me to garden, to cook, to code on that ancient desktop computer she bought at a yard sale because she believed technology was power and girls needed power. Not a single photo includes my father or Sloane, unless it's a formal family portrait where everyone's smiling and lying. She knew. Even then, she knew. I was always the giver. The one who showed up with groceries when she had the flu, who fixed her computer when it crashed, who sat with her during her last month when the hospice nurse said she had days left and everyone else had better things to do. Sloane came twice. My father didn't come at all. And when she died, they cried at the funeral. Loud, performative grief that made the other mourners pat their shoulders and murmur condolences. They wore black and dabbed at dry eyes and accepted sympathy like they'd lost something irreplaceable. Then they tried to sell her house 3 months later. I pull out my phone. Sloane's post has crossed 1,000 likes now. The comments have multiplied. My phone buzzes with texts from distant relatives I haven't heard from in years, all of them concerned, all of them CCing my father like I'm a problem that needs managing. The cruelty was designed. Calculated. They want me desperate and ashamed when I sign those papers at 3 o'clock. They want me so grateful for their attention that I don't ask questions. My grandmother's voice echoes in my head, clear as if she's sitting across from me. The house is wood and stone, Mary. Your dignity is what matters. I hear gravel crunch outside. Footsteps on the porch. The door opens without knocking. Kalen fills the doorway, a black folder in his hands. He's wearing his standard uniform. Dark suit, no tie, expression that gives away nothing. But his eyes are different today. Softer. Almost apologetic. The final documents, boss. He sets the folder on the side table. Everything's ready. I don't open it. I know what's inside. The quitclaim deed. The waiver. The trap that looks like surrender. He doesn't leave. Just stands there, hands clasped behind his back, looking at the needlepoint on the wall. They don't deserve you. His voice is rough, unused to emotion. Your grandmother would be proud of what you've built. Something in my chest loosens. Not much, just enough to breathe. Thank you. He nods once and leaves. The door clicks shut behind him. My phone buzzes. Preston's name lights up the screen. IPO opens at $84 per share. You're about to become a billionaire. Ready? I type back with steady fingers. More ready than they'll ever know. 2 o'clock arrives faster than it should. I stand in my apartment bathroom, staring at the black suit hanging on the back of the door. Tom Ford, tailored to fit like armor. I bought it 6 months ago for board meetings with investors who needed to believe a 26-year-old woman could run a company worth billions. Today, I'm wearing it to a family party. I dress slowly, each piece deliberate. The suit, the white silk blouse beneath it, the Patek Philippe watch that cost more than my father's car. My reflection stares back. Stranger and familiar. The woman my grandmother always knew I'd become. 2:47 p.m. 1 hour before market close. I get into the town car. Kalen drives without asking where we're going. He knows. I text Preston. The bait is ready. Let them take it. His response is immediate. They won't know what hit them. The car pulls away from my apartment building. I don't look back. Don't need to. That life ends today. I'm not going to a party. I'm going to a negotiation. And they wanted to see me sign my life away. They'll get their wish. Just not the way they expect. The library smells like leather and lies. Old money and older secrets. I used to love this room when I was a kid. Back when I thought the floor-to-ceiling bookshelves meant my father valued knowledge. Now I know they're just expensive wallpaper. Half those books have never been opened. Richard sits behind the mahogany desk like a king granting audience. His personal attorney stands beside him, some gray suit with a forgettable face and a very memorable hourly rate. Bryce leans against the bookshelf to my left, arms crossed, that smug little smile playing at the corners of his mouth. The smile that says he's already counting his commission. It's 3 o'clock. 1 hour until market close. The door opens behind me. Sloane's perfume arrives 5 seconds before she does, something French and floral and suffocating. She sweeps past me without acknowledgement, taking her position at Richard's right hand like she's been doing since we were children, the favored daughter. The one who became a surgeon, who married well, who posts perfectly filtered photos of her perfectly curated life. Thank you for coming, Meredith. Richard's voice carries that particular tone. The one that sounds warm but isn't. The one he uses on clients right before he explains why their case is hopeless. I know this is short notice. You said it was important. I keep my voice soft, uncertain. The way I used to sound at 19 when I desperately wanted him to notice me, to see me, to value anything I did. It is. He gestures to the chair across from him. Please. Sit. I sit. Fold my hands in my lap. Let my shoulders curve inward just slightly. The body language of someone who's never learned to take up space. The attorney slides a document across the desk. Heavy bond paper. At least 20 pages. The title is printed in bold. Trust Fund, Release, and Property Transfer. My heart doesn't race. My hands don't sweat. But I make sure they think they do. We've been discussing your future, Richard begins. He actually sounds paternal. Concerned. Like he's about to do me a favor instead of rob me blind. You're 26 years old. Still trying to find your path. That's admirable, sweetheart. But it's time we helped you get started. Started with what? I let my voice crack just a little. Just enough. With your life. Sloane's tone could cut glass. We're releasing $50,000 from the family trust. Seed money for your little computer hobby. Little computer hobby. The words sit in my chest like stones. Aether Systems employs 217 people. We provide cybersecurity infrastructure for 70% of the Fortune 500. Our quarterly revenue exceeds what their law firm makes in 2 years. But I don't say any of that. Instead, I pick up the document with trembling fingers. Real trembling this time, not from fear but from the sheer effort of not laughing in their faces. I scan the first page. Standard trust release language. Page 2 outlines the $50,000 payment, makes it sound generous, necessary, overdue. By page 3, we're into property transfer clauses. By page 7, paragraph 3, they're taking everything. Rosewood Cottage. My grandmother's house. The only place I ever felt safe. They're transferring the deed to cover outstanding family obligations. $20 million in gambling debts, disguised as legal fees for bad cases, Richard took because he thought he was smarter than everyone else in the courtroom. He wasn't. The cottage appraises at $850,000. They're trading my inheritance for 4% of what they owe, and they think I won't notice because I'm too stupid to read past the money part. This is very generous. The attorney speaks for the first time. His voice has the practiced neutrality of someone who's witnessed a lot of terrible things and cashed a lot of checks anyway. Given your situation, Miss Scott, I'd say your family is being extraordinarily accommodating. My situation. Like I'm the problem. Like I'm the one who gambled away millions and dragged everyone else down with me. I don't understand. I look up at Richard. Let my eyes get wet. Not crying, just on the edge of it. Why the cottage? That's Grandma's house. Was her house? Sloane's already bored with this conversation. Her phone sits on the desk in front of her, Instagram open. Ready to document my breakdown for 15,000 followers. She's been dead for 3 years, Mary. You can't even afford the property taxes. But I could figure something out. My voice goes higher, desperate. Please, Dad, it's all I have. You'll have $50,000. Richard checks his Rolex. 3:17. He's getting impatient. That's more than most people your age have managed to save. You should be grateful. Grateful. The word tastes like poison. Can't we find another way? I'm pleading now. Full performance. I could get a job. A real job. I could help pay off the debts myself. Bryce actually laughs. Doing what, Meredith? You've been coding in your apartment for 6 years. No publications, no portfolio anyone's seen, no professional network. The market's brutal right now. You'd be lucky to land an entry-level position. It's better this way. Sloane doesn't even look up from her phone. You can't afford the upkeep anyway. No real income. And honestly, living in the past isn't healthy. You need to move forward. I found a buyer who'll preserve it, Bryce adds. You should be grateful someone wants it at all in this market. The attorney taps the signature line on page 19. Miss Scott, I have another appointment at 4. If we could finalize this now. Richard leans forward. His expression shifts. Not paternal anymore. Just cold. Sign it or get nothing. We're done coddling you, Meredith. It's time you learned how the real world works. The clock on the wall reads 3:42. 18 minutes until market close. Sign. The document. Richard bites off each word. I reach for the pen, allowing my hand to tremble visibly. But before the tip touches the paper, I stop. I want a copy, I whisper. For my records. Grandma always said to keep records. Richard rolls his eyes. For God's sake! It's standard procedure, Mr. Scott. The attorney murmurs, pulling a duplicate set from his briefcase. Actually, it's better for enforcement if we have duplicate originals, both parties holding an executed copy. He slides the second set across the mahogany. I sign the first one, then the second. My handwriting looks broken, uncertain on both. Richard signs. The attorney notarizes both stacks with efficient, heavy thunks of his stamp. Happy? Richard snatches his copy before the ink dries. Doesn't read past page 2. Never even glances at page 7. I pull my copy toward me, folding it slowly, clutching it to my chest like a security blanket. Thank you, Daddy. Excellent. Richard stands. I'm glad we could resolve this efficiently. The funds will be transferred to your account by end of week. They leave. All of them. Sloane already typing something on her phone, probably a post about difficult family members and tough love. Bryce shoots me one last pitying look, before following them out. The attorney packs his briefcase without a word. The door closes. Silence. I count to 10, then 20, making absolutely sure they're gone. The tears vanish. Just gone, like turning off a faucet. I check my Patek Philippe. 3:47, 13 minutes to close. Checkmate, I whisper to the empty room. I stand and smooth my jacket, checking that the duplicate original is secure in the inner pocket. The document includes complete waiver of all future familial financial claims, including but not limited to friends and family stock allocations, inheritance expectations, and corporate benefits. They just signed away $504 million for $50,000 and a cottage worth $850,000. I walk to the French doors that open onto the terrace. Outside, the garden party is already starting. I can hear the string quartet tuning up. I'm not leaving. Not yet. 11 minutes until they realize what they've done. 11 minutes until everything changes. The champagne tastes like victory. At least, that's what Richard thinks as he raises his glass at the podium, surveying 200 guests, scattered across the manicured lawn of the Scott estate. String quartet, uniformed servers, flower arrangements that cost more than most people's monthly rent. I stand near the back, black suit, sharp as a blade, watching him perform. To family legacy, he announces, voice carrying across the garden with practiced authority. To the businesses that define excellence in our community. Take Ether Systems, for example, remarkable cybersecurity firm. Their IPO today represents everything American enterprise should aspire to. Innovation, discipline, vision. Sloan stands beside him, phone held high. Instagram live stream. 15,000 viewers watching her father pontificate about success while she angles for the perfect shot. Her smile is luminous. She thinks she's won. Unlike some hobbies, Richard continues, and I feel the shift coming before he makes it. Not everyone understands the difference between serious business and playing with computers in a basement, but that's fine. The world needs all types. Ev. Polite laughter ripples through the crowd. Several guests glance my direction. I don't flinch. 4 p.m. exactly. The closing bell rings somewhere in Manhattan, and the universe tilts on its axis. Bloomberg terminals throughout the party erupt simultaneously. Sharp electronic chimes, guests' phones buzzing in pockets, clutches, jacket linings. The string quartet falters mid-phrase as musicians check their devices. What the hell? Someone mutters near the bar. The murmurs start low, building like a wave gathering strength. AET up 400%? Ether Systems IPO closed at $336 per share? That's impossible. The opening was $84. Richard keeps talking, oblivious. Still mid-sentence about family values and business acumen. Still performing for an audience that's no longer listening. Preston Vance steps forward from the crowd. Tailored gray suit. SEC S1 filing printed and bound in his hands like scripture. He moves with the quiet confidence of someone who's closed billion-dollar deals before breakfast. Ladies and gentlemen, his voice cuts through Richard's speech without raising in volume. I apologize for the interruption, but I believe some clarification is needed. Richard stops, confused, annoyed. Preston, this isn't the time. I'd like to introduce the founder and CEO of Ether Systems. Preston turns, extends his hand toward me. M.J. Scott, who's been operating under her initials for privacy. Silence crashes over the garden like a physical force. 200 faces turn toward me, mouths open, eyes wide. The kind of stunned recognition that happens when reality rewrites itself in real time. Richard's face drains of color. All that expensive, scotch-fueled confidence evaporating as his brain catches up to what his ears just heard. M.J., someone whispers. Meredith, Jane. I don't move, don't speak, let them process. Sloane's phone drops 3 inches before she catches it. The live stream wobbles, captures her expression perfectly. Mathematical horror beginning its slow crawl across her features. Richard recovers first. Of course he does. Decades of courtroom performance taught him how to pivot when the case turns against him. My daughter? He rushes toward me, arms spread wide for an embrace. I always believed in her vision. I always knew. I step back. One clean movement. His arms close on empty air. He freezes, recalculates, pivots again. Turns to Preston. The friends and family IPO allocations. We should discuss those. I'm sure Meredith has reserved shares for her family. Haven't you, sweetheart? Sloane's fingers fly across her phone screen. I can see the calculation happening in real time. $336 per share, multiplied by whatever allocation she thinks she deserves. Her eyes glaze with the kind of greed that makes people stupid. Bryce Sterling stands near the fountain, frozen. His investment banking brain doing the math differently. His commission on the cottage sale. Pocket change. Nothing. Less than nothing compared to what he just realized he lost. I reach into my jacket, pull out the document I folded and tucked away in the library 13 minutes ago. The duplicate original. About those allocations, Father. My voice carries. Calm. Clear. The voice I use in board meetings when I'm about to fire someone who thought they were indispensable. The garden goes silent again. Even the string quartet stops pretending to play. There's a clause in the document you signed. Page 7, paragraph 3. Would you like me to read it, or would you prefer to read it yourself? Richard's face shifts. Confusion to concern to dawning comprehension. What document? The one you witnessed at 3:47 p.m. The trust fund release and property transfer. The one you were so eager to have me sign that you didn't read past page 2. I unfold the paper. Hold it up so the guests closest can see the notary seal. The witness signatures. Richard's own attorney's stamp at the bottom. Complete waiver of all future familial financial claims. I read aloud. Each word landing like a hammer blow, including but not limited to friends and family stock allocations, inheritance expectations, and corporate benefits. Sloane's phone clatters to the flagstone. Doesn't shatter. Just lies there, live stream still running, capturing her face as understanding destroys her from the inside out. Preston steps forward again. Numbers man. Always has the data ready. The friends and family allocation was 1.5 million shares. At the closing price of $336 per share, that's $504 million. Someone gasps. Multiple someones. The math is too big, too devastating, too perfectly brutal to process quietly. You forced them to sign it away, Preston continues, looking at Richard, for $50,000 and a cottage appraised at $850,000. Richard's mouth opens, closes, opens again. No sound emerges, his lawyer brain trying desperately to find the loophole, the out, the appeal. There isn't one. He witnessed the signature himself. Their greed, I say quietly, cost them $500 million. Sloane makes a sound. Not quite a sob, not quite a scream. Something between the two that belongs to someone watching their entire future collapse in real time. I turn to Richard. Make sure every witness hears what comes next. Aether Systems is also raising Scott and Partners' cybersecurity premiums by 20%, effective immediately. Consider it professional risk assessment based on high-risk client status. 140 witnesses, including his law partners, including the judges he plays golf with, including everyone who matters in his professional world. Sloane's Instagram livestream captured everything. 15,000 viewers watched her face register mathematical horror, watched her father try to claim credit for success he'd mocked, watched the family that called me stupid lose $500 million because they couldn't read 7 pages of legal documents. Bryce's investment banking reputation just died. Association alone will kill him in this industry. Nobody trusts a banker who can't spot a trap that obvious. I fold the document, slide it back into my jacket, turn toward the exit. Enjoy the party, I say over my shoulder. It's the last thing I'm paying for. Kaylin waits by the car, opens the door without a word. I slide into the leather seat. The door closes with a sound like a vault ceiling. Behind me, the garden erupts in whispers. Phones out. Messages flying. The story spreading like wildfire through networks that will carry it to every corner of their professional lives. The car pulls away from the estate. Away from the people inside who thought I was too stupid to read fine print. They were wrong. And now everyone knows exactly how wrong they've been. 3 days later, the Wall Street Journal sits folded on the leather seat beside me. I don't need to open it again. The headline is burned into my vision. Mystery CEO M.J. Scott, revealed as 6-year-old tech prodigy. Forbes put my net worth at $2.8 billion. They're conservative. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing since dawn. Interview requests from Bloomberg, CNBC, TechCrunch. Acquisition offers that start with 9 figures. Investor meetings that would have made my father weep if he understood what they meant. He doesn't. He never will. The SUV glides through morning traffic at 8 a.m. Kaylin silent behind the wheel. My first board meeting as publicly known CEO starts in 90 minutes. 3 acquisition targets on the agenda. Expansion plans that will double our cybersecurity footprint within 18 months. But first, there's other business to handle. My phone vibrates. Email notification from Willow Holdings LLC, the shell company I established 6 months ago when I first suspected my family might try something desperate. Subject line, property transfer complete. Rosewood Cottage is mine. The bank was happy to sell the mortgage note holding the cottage as collateral, a clean transaction, cash for debt. Since Richard's ownership was contingent on the contract he violated, I am now the creditor holding the keys. I tap open the attached property inspection report. Richard and Sloane have been using my grandmother's house for storage. Valuable antiques, they claimed when they moved their things in last spring. The inspector's photos tell a different story. Reproduction furniture from discount warehouses. Costume jewelry in fake Tiffany boxes. A collection of paintings that might fool someone who shops at hotel liquidation sales. They plan to have it all appraised fraudulently. Insurance fraud, most likely. Another scheme, another shortcut, Another crime. They thought I was too stupid to notice. I attached the digital eviction notice to my response email. 30 days to remove their belongings. Standard legal language. Professional. Cold. Send. My father's attorney calls 6 minutes later. I let it go to voicemail. Listen while I watch the city roll past my window. Threats of litigation. Accusations of elder abuse, of theft, of manipulating a confused old man who only wanted to help his daughter. I save the voicemail. Evidence. Always evidence. Review the quitclaim deed. I text back. You witnessed the signature. Everything is legal. Everything is documented. This conversation is over. Block number. Sloane's voicemail comes through next. I play the first 3 seconds. Rage, tears, something about betrayal and family, and how could I do this to them after everything they've done for me? Delete. Don't need to hear the rest. Bryce texts. Can we talk? Block. Delete. Gone. The family group chat sits at the top of my messages. 17 unread texts since last night. Richard, trying to explain, to justify, to manipulate. Sloane demanding I fix this, that I apologize, that I remember who raised me. Distant cousins and aunts chiming in with their opinions about my responsibilities and my selfishness and my ungrateful nature. I delete the entire thread without reading past the previews. Then I change my phone number. The process takes 4 minutes. Preston gets the new one. Kaylin already has it. My executive team will receive it this morning with strict instructions about privacy protocols. Everyone else can figure out how to contact me through official channels, if they're worth my time. The board meeting agenda glows on my tablet screen. Expansion into 3 new markets. Acquisition targets that will solidify our position as the dominant cybersecurity provider for financial institutions. Revenue projections that made our CFO double-check his calculations. I'm ready. More than ready. The SUV pulls up to Ether Systems headquarters at 8:47 a.m. Modern glass and steel. 5 stories. Our name in brushed metal letters that catch the morning sun. I had them installed last week while the IPO was still pending. No more hiding. Through the glass walls, I can see the lobby. 200 employees gathered, waiting. Someone must have sent a message that I was arriving. Kaylin opens my door. The cool morning air carries the scent of success and coffee and something new. Something that belongs entirely to me. They start clapping before I'm through the entrance. A standing ovation that echoes off the marble floors and high ceilings. My people, my team, the family I chose instead of the one I was born into. Preston appears at my elbow, immaculate in his suit, eyes bright with something that might be pride. Ready, MJ? I look at the faces watching me. Young engineers who bet their careers on my vision, executives who left prestigious positions to build something real. Security specialists who understand that protection means more than just code. I've been ready my whole life, I tell him. They just couldn't see it. We walk through the applause, through the lobby, toward the executive elevators that will take me to the boardroom where I belong. The past stays behind me where it belongs. The future is mine.